I'm Gloria Strode, and welcome to Straightforward. We are having our friends from the VA today to share all of the great things that they are doing to take care of our veterans. Welcome, Dr. Boyle and Dr. Wise.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're long overdue for your annual visit.
Yes, we are.
But we are happy that you're here. We know that you all work hard every day in Montgomery, in Tuskegee, and at Martin Army, and in our clinic on 13th, taking care of our veterans.
Yes.
You do so much. We can't thank you enough. We probably could never pay you enough, I'm sure of that, because we just have so many veterans and they are getting younger. And so you all are just working day and night nonstop.
They're getting younger and they're getting older.
They are.
Right.
So you got both ends of the spectrum.
Correct.
Yeah. And so Dr. Boyle, just share with us some of the things that you've had going on since the last visit. You got so many community outreach. You hold town hall meetings. So even though I didn't see you, I knew that you were working because I follow those things. I go to that page. And so I know you've had some town hall meetings where you all have been sharing with people and just getting the information out.
And I probably think that the latest thing that we've done is we did send a letter to all our veterans because certainly dear to everybody's heart here is looking at when we're going to have the new Columbus Clinic open.
Oh, okay.
And unfortunately, because of an issue with the Small Business Administration, we had to cancel that particular contract, or was canceled for us, that contract. And so therefore now we're looking at getting another contract to continue to build the clinic. I just want to make it clear though that even though we have had a delay in building a new clinic, we still have the clinic on 13th Street, plus we have the clinic at Fort Benning, which will continue to function and care for our veterans in this area.
Okay.
This is a huge growing area for us.
It is, and it has always been because a lot of people get out the military and they stay here because, you know, it's kind of an easy pace and a good place to retire. But there is a delay. That doesn't mean that it's totally off the table.
It's not
just
off the
a
table.
delay. And that often happens with government contracts and things like that. And of course, we live here in Columbus, Fort Benning, so we do understand that. But in the meantime, you still got great boots on the ground with Dr. Carlos Wise, who is very credible. We know his family, so we know he's credible. And he's working hard as well as your other teams in the VA healthcare system.
Right. And Dr. Weiss, if you go ahead and give an update on where we are with the Columbus Clinic, particularly with some of the new doctors we're bringing on board.
Absolutely. So we're open for business. We have 7 teams open and going at Fort Benning.
7 teams?
7 teams.
Really?
And we have 4 teams at the Columbus location. So a total of 11 teams, and among those we have about, I think, 16 or 17,000 veterans that we're available for.
Really?
We're hiring 3 new doctors right now, 1 in women's health and 2 in primary care.
Really?
Absolutely. And
so you're growing that team. So we have 7 at Fort Benning, and then we have 4 over on 13th.
Correct.
Teams.
Correct.
And then you're growing that still.
Absolutely.
Correct.
Really?
We're also still doing extended hours for our veterans who work. So we have 2 doctors at Fort Benning who start early and work late. And we have a Saturday clinic at the 13th Street location for scheduled appointments. And that's every Saturday. We have Dr. Anderson over there doing our Saturday clinic.
Okay, so we have extended hours for those veterans that work, because you're a veteran, and so is my husband. And so we got these folks with these other lives, like yourself, Dr. Boyle. And so the extended hours is there to accommodate those that might be in a second career.
Absolutely.
And then on Saturdays, by appointment.
By appointment only.
They can go to the clinic on
13th.
On 13th. And that's in Midtown.
Correct.
So that's city center.
Right.
Right. Easy to find.
They can have lunch across the street while they're there.
Exactly.
Make a day of it.
Absolutely. And so you're continuously hiring and looking for the best talent.
And we're hiring great people too. The doctors that we have coming on board, we have Dr. Matthew Warren. He's a wonderful doctor. I've known him for years. He's a very good primary care doctor, board certified. And we have Dr. DeClue from the community transferring back into the community.
Really?
So, and then we've hired someone for women's health. So we'll have the women's health program up and going again very soon, in the very near future.
All right, so that's like focused, that
Correct.
women's health.
Yes.
And then women can actually you can deal with all of those things that they might not have been comfortable with. And because we got such young veterans, male and females,
Yes.
it's a different time than old school
Yes.
Fort Benning.
Yes.
Yeah. And so you all are preparing for future healthcare, and that's why you're building those teams.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that's why we're looking forward to a bigger space eventually.
Eventually.
To hold all those teams under one roof.
Right.
Right.
Under one roof, like
Right.
a one-stop shop.
Correct.
Oh, wow, I love that. Because, some people will complain that it is difficult sometimes going through the gate.
Yeah.
We graduate soldiers here every week. We want to continue to do that. We want to build the best army, and we want economic development for those families to come here and spend their monies in the hotels and restaurants. But it comes with the price.
Right.
So people are like, oh, Lord, I sit at the gate, because if they don't have the CAT card, then, it's
Right.
might be a little
Challenging.
challenging
to get through.
to just wait and get through there, but it's worth it.
Right, and so, even with Fort Benning, as we look at that, certainly this area is growing. There's about 17,000 veterans currently we take care of in this area, 3,000 of which are female veterans. Now, not all female veterans are necessarily within the women's health teams, because
Right.
not all of us necessarily want to be in the women's health teams. So
That's true.
we need to have an option as to what we want to have.
Right.
Physicians are great. I think what's important is what you've picked, the doctors you've selected, you've ensured that you have high quality providers that are coming to join our team. If, when we build a new clinic, we realize that we don't have enough space in the new clinic, we will continue to have Fort Benning or other options open to ensure that we're taking care of the people here in Columbus area.
I just think it's outstanding that we got you. You came.
too.
I do too. I
I
mean,
do too.
because you can tell she's very passionate about it. Every visit, you can just see the concern. And of course, too bad for Alaska. Great for us in the South. No, really, because we need people that are about the mission. We can always find people to do a job, but when it's a calling, it's a difference, and that's the thing that I know even about some of the other doctors there. As we talked about my friend, Dr. Deborah Daniels, who this is her
Yes.
community.
Yes.
Right.
She was in the Navy,
Yes.
so she's vested, and that makes a difference when people are caring for other people. And I think you all are just doing an outstanding job with building that team. So we have some other community things that's going to be coming up. I want to make sure we share those.
Good.
But before we go into that conversation, I want to make sure we take our break and go to our sponsors.
Okay.
And we'll be right back.
Thank you.
We'll be right back after word from some of our sponsors. Straightforward is brought to you by Chalk by Quincy introduces Excellence Redefined, timepieces of the finest technology, luxury, and class with tons of style at chalklifestyle.com. Renal Associates LLC, a team of physicians dedicated to excellent kidney care with 5 convenient locations to serve you. Stark Avenue, Columbus, Bradley Park Drive, Columbus, Lafayette Parkway, LaGrange, West Washington Street, Eufaula, and Spring Street in Warm Springs. Vanessa Jackson's District 3 Successful Scholars Program, supporting students in achieving academic excellence, outstanding citizenship, positive social and cultural growth, believing in success for kids. Dr. Sheikha Shaw Family Medicine, connecting your health to your future. Dr. Shaw prides herself in providing compassionate health care and establishing long-lasting relationships. Conveniently located at 2827 Warm Springs Road, Suite 3B. Call her today at 706-324-4177.
Walmart's reason for supporting Thurgood Marshall College Fund is simple. We like to win. And we have been given a lot of exposure to some incredible talent. And we also believe that it's a part of our responsibility to the community to give back. This is a great opportunity to do both. It's been a wonderful experience for us through the years. We've appreciated our partnership. We believe in return on investment, and we have definitely had a remarkable return.
Welcome back to Straightforward. I'm continuing my wonderful conversation with our great friends from VA Healthcare, Dr. Boyle and Dr. Wise. I cannot just praise you and thank you all enough. As I move through the city, I see veterans. We have homeless veterans. those that, struggle with PTSD. We have veterans you'll see them parking in special parking places at places like Home Depot, and they should have those special parking places because they've earned it. Right. But you just have such a broad spectrum of people that need so much. You have a great team of social workers over in Tuskegee that do an awesome outreach for our homeless veterans. We had a fabulous stand down.
Which you helped us with. Thank you very much for that.
That thing was
yes.
fabulous.
Yes.
We had homeless veterans actually get keys for housing, yes. haircuts, clothes, everything. So, I mean, your work, your team, and the reputation is just head and shoulders above the rest. But you have something else you're getting ready to have here in the next few days.
Actually, yes. Ian Reed is certainly the person that does
yes,
the homeless program.
Yes.
But he's been working on a pilot project that we were working on. We started in Montgomery and working with our infectious disease doctor, and we're reaching out to the community, certainly to the homeless, where there's an incident with homelessness as far as hepatitis A, hepatitis B, and even HIV positive.
Really?
So, what we are offering to them is screening for them on the 8th of August from 10 to 3. There will be providers here, there'll be staff here to do that screening and to give injections to them for hepatitis A or B, and also do the screening for the HIV and counseling.
Really? And that's going to be held at the 13th Street?
At the 13th Street Clinic, yes.
Okay,
yes.
And they will be able to just move freely. Because what we found is with Senator Harbison, who is our great friend and supporter, and attended the stand down, and he's an old Marine, Purple Heart, and all of that.
Wow.
Some of them, when they talk to him at the post office, and this is regular downtown, they don't want to come inside. Right. It's too much for them, some of them, to come inside. But you have this outreach where they won't have to go through the gate at Fort Benning.
No.
They'll be able to go to 13th Street and get the shots for hepatitis A
and B.
And B. Right there on the spot.
Correct. And it's a mobile clinic that we have, so we have a van that we have stocked, and we have staff that will be coming down with it to ensure we're able to take care of any of the homeless that wish to have that studies done, or any other veteran who wishes to have that done. Will be there on the 8th of August.
Really?
Yeah.
And it's free.
It's free.
We love free.
We do.
No, because sometimes that
We
will
love
deter
free.
people, and I always say, well, it's only $10, but $10 is $10 if you
right.
don't have $10.
That's correct.
And I think sometimes we get so comfortable in our little worlds that we forget that there are some people that struggle on a day-to-day basis. So, Dr. Wise, what can you add to that about the outreach and the hepatitis? And those are things that we don't always hear about. We might hear about the HIV, but we're having some of those with our homeless veterans, a lot of those.
Yeah, so this veteran population is a unique population, and there are a lot of challenges that they faced. A lot of compounding issues with substance abuse and economic hardship and mental health issues because of the service that they've given to our country that has put them at risk where they need this additional coverage.
Right, and it's not a handout. They've
not
earned
a handout.
it.
Absolutely.
Right, and that's why I was telling you, Dr. Boyle, when we were speaking earlier, a lot of the noise is just political noise.
Yeah.
Because if we just look at what the facts are and not the political noise, then we are obligated to do right by people that were willing to sacrifice everything. Right. And when they come back from war zones, they come back with different issues. PTSD might be greater in some than others, but then because of the PTSD and, like you said, substance abuse, they've self-medicated. Then that leads to other things. And we still have to take care of them. We just can't throw them away. Right.
Yeah, because they're in that condition because of what they've given to the rest of us. And so it's important for us to recognize that we owe something for that. And so, it's our pleasure to try to cover for that.
See, and that's why this team is so great. Did you hear what Dr. Wise said? It's our pleasure. And that's a difference. That's when you know it's a calling and not a job, because there is nothing worse than going somewhere for a service and people act like they're mad that you're there. But when he said it's our pleasure. And so that's why you all are just so particular about this head and shoulders above the rest team. They have to bring their A game to be on this team. See, I know
That's true.
I know him outside of his medical life. We used to be church members. And that's really what it's all about. And that's why you are so particular about the people on the team.
I think it's critical to make sure you pick the right people, you know, because we veterans of all generations have different concerns and different issues that need to be worked for them. And I think with the homeless population in particular, you know, especially if there's other psychiatric and or substance abuse, that's why it's excellent that we have right there at the Columbus Clinic psychiatry, social work, and psychology in order to help the veterans with that. So there's many things that you can do in primary care, but then there's other things that we can do through that, plus looking at the HUD-VASH. I always forget what HUD-VASH stands for, but it's those vouchers that you can get
for the housing.
For the housing.
Right,
Thank you.
right,
Thank you.
Right. HUD is for the housing.
Right, for the housing vouchers that we have available for our veterans.
And they don't always have to go to Tuskegee.
Correct.
See, and that's what we always thought. If you were a veteran, you were not active duty, you got to find somebody to drive you to Tuskegee. But you all are addressing a lot of those things. So 13th Street, you have a lot of services there. You have a lot on Fort Benning, but then you're going to grow those when the new facility, you're going to put everybody under one roof.
Correct.
And that's why you're picking the best talent from all over the country to grow that team.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you're always having these great things over in Montgomery. You've had the big carnival. I call it a carnival, but it's like a big day event, and all of your different departments are there. And so I watch all of that stuff. So Dr. Wise, I want to put you public with saying that once we get our new building, we're going to be just like the people in Montgomery.
Oh,
Yes.
absolutely.
So you all are forever hosting things like that over in Montgomery.
Well, that would be good, you know, to have that down here also, because when we did go around for employee satisfaction, and we certainly had more of a carnival up in the Montgomery area, we did do something down here with the staff.
Right.
But it would be with a nicer, bigger building to be able to do something
Right,
more.
and as part of it
Absolutely.
is Fort Benning. Everybody can't just get
Correct.
through there. And
Correct.
so when all of that other stuff gets worked out and we get the big building, because I know you had the bicycle program for veterans, and see how I keep up with everything.
do,
And I
you
thought, we should have that too.
We should have
and
that.
that helps them for those that might have lost their driver's license because of run-ins with the law. Biking is good. Columbus has great bike
Right,
trails.
correct.
Yeah.
You know, so we got to keep up with all
Right,
of that, but
correct.
we have to have the facility
Right.
for you all to come in and do
I
that.
believe that, you know, through that homeless program, they offer them those opportunities for other things like transportation and also the housing.
That's right.
Right. So
Yeah.
it's comprehensive.
Correct.
Right. So what we're going to do is take our final break, come to our sponsors, and we'll pick up right there.
Okay, thank you.
We'll be right back after word from some of our sponsors. Straightforward is brought to you by Warrior Outreach. Contact Command Sergeant Major Retired Sam Rhodes or Kathy Rhodes. The Hugel Foundation, enriching the community through Christian music support, community outreach, and the Georgia Through Photography Project. For more information, call B at 706-568-6431. Progressive Funeral Home, family owned and operated since 1952. The George Ford legacy of high standards continues today in the compassionate and professional services provided. A touch of dignity for those who care. Progressive Funeral Home, 4235 St. Mary's Road, trusted by generations. East Alabama Endocrinology, educating and caring for those living with diabetes in Alabama and Georgia. 1400 Bradley Lake Boulevard, 3320 Skyway Drive, Suite 602, Opelika. Take charge of diabetes and live your best life. State Senator Ed Harbison, serving the citizens of Georgia's 15th Senatorial District and on the front line for veterans every day.
History is important because it shows where you're coming from and where you're going. Type 2 diabetes is something that runs in my family, which means I'm at risk. In fact, 1 in 3 American adults are at risk for developing type 2 diabetes. And knowing this, if I do nothing, that family history becomes my family's future. And my family is too important to me for that. Take the risk factor assessment today at AskScreenKnow.com.
Welcome back to Straightforward. I'm continuing my conversation with those great people from VA Healthcare, Dr. Boyle and my great friend, Dr. Wise. So we have support services for our veterans. I want to make sure we get all that information out there. So we were talking about, before we went to the break, about the bicycle donation program that you all had over in the Montgomery healthcare area. So what do we have here in our area to assist veterans that don't have cars?
Yeah, so as I was mentioning, a lot of veterans don't go to their appointments in Tuskegee and Montgomery because they don't realize that we actually offer shuttle services back and forth, multiple trips a day from the Columbus and the Fort Benning VA back and forth to Tuskegee and Montgomery. And any veteran, even if you have your own transportation, you're eligible for VA-sponsored transportation back and forth to your appointments within the system.
See, and I didn't know that because we always thought that we had these little volunteer groups, you know, through Senator Robinson.
And it's good that we
and
have
we want that
community support,
right.
but we provide those services through the VA. And then our veterans who have special transportation needs, perhaps they may be so sick they need to go on a stretcher, or they need a particular van that will accommodate a wheelchair.
Right.
Or so we actually have van services that provide transportation in those instances as well, both for people who have appointments within the VA system and people who are also being seen out in the community.
Really? So if they needed to go to a cardiologist and they have been approved, they could go to that appointment with you all, and
we will send a van to their house to pick them up
Really?
and shuttle them to their cardiology appointment and take them back home.
Really?
Yes.
So is it the social worker at your 13th Street office or on Martin Army, or how would they connect?
So it's a team approach. They call their team.
Oh.
Yeah, and if they have special medical needs, then the doctor actually puts that in. But if
Okay.
it's just a routine,
Right.
shuttle, the social worker or the administrative person requests that on their behalf.
Really?
And we only need a day notice, 1 day's notice.
24 hours?
24 hours notice.
And you all can make it happen.
And we do make it happen.
All right. Oh, Dr. Wise, I love that about him. And we do make it happen.
That's right.
See,
Absolutely.
that's that commitment, and it really shows through. So now I've just learned something, and I pride myself on trying to know, because I'm an old social worker, everything that's free that can help the people in the community. So any veteran, if they need to be shuttled to appointments, you have a shuttle for those that need to travel normally. For those that have special needs, medical required needs, then you all have transportation, and that's set up through the team,
Through
the
their team.
physician.
Right. That's
Right.
right.
How awesome is that? And it's free.
And it's free.
Free is wonderful. Free is
We love
wonderful
free.
for yes, especially for our veterans, because a lot of them are on fixed incomes, or then we might have them fabulous like you and Dr. Boyle with the second career, but we do have some that's very sick, and we want to make sure we're taking care of them.
Yeah.
So
it's
we were-
all about love.
Yeah.
When we were talking about being sick, I want to make sure we talk a little bit about suicide prevention, because that's
Absolutely.
really near and dear to my heart.
Yes.
It's still 20 veterans a day who commit
20?
suicide. You know, it's down, it was 22, it's 21 is too many.
One is too many.
And what I really want to drive home here is that all of us know us veterans. You can tell
Yes.
our houses.
Yes.
You can tell by things in our house.
The cars.
Yes,
Yes,
right.
yes.
That when you think you have a friend who might be in need, please reach out to us and have us come forward to look at helping that person out. What I found is that if you look at the statistics on the 20, only 6 of those individuals are enrolled into VA for health care.
Really?
So 14 of them are not even coming to see us.
So you all, they have fallen through the cracks.
Right, for
And-
whatever reason, they're not
Right,
with us.
Right. It's not because of you. And sometimes people just don't want to. They just want to do their thing, which is not always best for them.
Correct.
Because then they're out of the loop. Whereas if they're seeing you all regularly, you all can recognize whatever those symptoms are and get them some help.
So I did want to do the Veteran Crisis Hotline,
Absolutely.
which
Let's do it.
is 1-800-273-8225. Press 1 at the prompt. So it's 1-800-273-8255. Press 1 at the prompt.
Okay.
And they will immediately be connected to someone who can assist them.
And that's 24/7.
Absolutely.
Someone is always going to answer.
Always.
Yes.
And that's why, you know, if you get that number, put it into your cell phone.
Just lock it in.
And that way, if you're talking to someone who you think is in need, you have the ability to reach out and get them the assistance that they need.
That is really outstanding. And that's what we really have to make sure, that we are arming the community, educating them, because if it's not your family member, it could be your neighbor.
Right.
And when something like that happens, it impacts the entire community.
Right.
Right.
You know, and when we hear about that, it's just not okay.
Right.
We feel like we failed them. I mean, I know I have felt that when people have decided to take that approach. And so we don't want to leave any veterans behind.
Absolutely.
We want them to get the best care that they can get, from primary care, housing through our HUD program for the homeless veterans, the
Mental
social
health.
worker, mental health,
health.
social worker team rocks. I mean, that veteran stand down.
Yes.
Once you get your big new building, and we know that's going to happen, it's
Right.
just
Gonna happen.
low. It's going to happen.
Right.
And then we're going to just have some of those fabulous, great events that you all are. You have the space to do it in Montgomery. It's not. I know that it's not because you don't value us.
No,
it's just
no,
that we
no.
don't have the
No, no.
space.
Yeah.
And so space really drives that.
Right.
And then with the stand down, we were able to go to a public venue. But we can't always do that because those things, you know, they're in business to make money.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. They're not cheap.
They're not cheap.
Yeah.
So, what are some of the tips for the people before we run out of time? For those that are going right here to Fort Benning, do they need to bring anything? Because sometimes if they already in the system, they know the system. But if they're new, or if they're going to 13th Street, what do they need? The DD-214?
Yes.
So those are the things that I want
And
to
a
tell
picture
folks.
ID, the DD-214 and a picture ID.
Will get it
really,
started.
that's
it.
what you need to
That's
get
it.
started.
Right, and you don't need money.
You don't
No.
need money.
Right,
Yeah.
just a
Come and sign
DD-214,
Right.
picture ID, get signed up, and then the process starts.
Yeah.
Correct.
Right, and that's for 13th Street, Tuskegee, Montgomery, and Fort Benning at Martin Army.
Correct.
Is
Yes.
that where we are at Martin Army?
And I would just say, just a little, we're at Fort Benning at the VA clinic, which is separate from
Separate from
Martin
Martin
Oh,
Army.
okay, so where is it physically?
Army. Across the street.
Across the street.
Okay,
From
so,
Martin Army.
all right, well, we know we have to give people a landmark.
Yes,
So
yes,
it is
yes.
right across the street,
Yeah,
so
if
they
you
can
turn
find
right to
it.
go to Martin Army, you turn left to go to the VA.
Oh, okay, so
Yeah.
we're still right there
We're
for
right
the folks that have never been there before.
Yeah.
And for that 16 that you're saying, or 14 that's never been,
14,
we want to make sure that we include them, and we want to encourage them.
It's often the older ones, like from the Vietnam era, that
Right.
suddenly at this stage of their life, there's issues that they're no longer able to necessarily deal with, and they're seeking help. Or the younger ones that you're talking about also coming back from the latest
Right.
wars that we have.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of them are not mature to understand how everything works. But we have the team of Dr. Linda Boyle, Dr. Carlos Wise, and the great VA healthcare team. We appreciate you all. You have to come back,
appreciate you.
stay on track, because I feel left out when you don't come to visit me. But I am following you and all the great work that you're doing, and we certainly appreciate everything that you all do. Taking care of our veterans one at a time,
Absolutely.
every day. 365 days a year, and we can't thank you enough. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for all that you do for the
Thank you.
community
I
too. Thank
appreciate
you.
that.
Gloria.
This has been straightforward. If you don't stand for something, you will fall for anything. Until next time, be blessed.